It's the 13th of September 1942, and the bitter Battle of Stalingrad is in the early stages. High above in the skies are 4 Yak-1 fighters from the 437th Fighter Regiment, and they're on a mission to cover and defend the beleaguered city. In command is Major Stepan Danilov, a combat-experienced pilot, but in his charge today is a young pilot who at the age of 21 has shown great promise, but is yet to score a victory. Danilov plans to keep his eye on this young charge in the plane with number 32 on the fuselage. In the distance, a formation of Ju-88s is spotted, and they're not alone, being escorted by Messerschmitt Bf-109s. The 4 Yaks increase speed and spring into action. Rapidly approaching the Germans, the 4 Soviet pilots pick their targets. The Yak-1 was a fast, maneuverable plane that was deadly in the hands of a capable pilot, but it was lightly armed and needed a high degree of skill and accurate marksmanship in order to take down an enemy. The melee ensues and the Bf-109s from JG-53 break formation to engage the Soviets. The battle is on, but Danilov needn't have worried. Number 32 lines up the target and watches it loom larger and larger in the sights. The Ju-88 is at last within range, and number 32 unleashes a hail of machine gun fire. It's on target, and bullets rake the Junkers until it bursts into flames and starts falling in an arc towards the ground. It's the first kill for the young pilot, but that's not the end for number 32 on this fateful day. The 437th is a mixed squadron with men and women pilots. Commander Raisa Belayeva, also in a Yak-1, is in trouble. A Bf-109 is all over her tail. Raisa pulls hard into a turn, desperately trying to shake off the German pilot, but it's no good. The 109 is on her like glue. In the pilot's seat of the 109 is German double ace Staff Sergeant Erwin Meyer. Number 32 spots that the commander is in trouble and comes to the rescue. With expert flying, 32 manages to get behind Meyer. Experienced as he is, Meyer spots the threat and knows he's in trouble and so reluctantly breaks off from his intended kill. Number 32 is having none of it though and deftly lets leash a burst of fire, perfectly timed. It's a critical hit and the Bf-109 pours smoke and oil. Meyer knows there's no way to get this bird down in one piece and opens the hatch and jumps out of his stricken warbird. The parachute opens and he sees his nemesis, the Yak-1 with 32, painted on the side, zoom past him as he drifts slowly into enemy territory. The Red Army conduct a search and capture the German. Marching him back to base, Meyer inquired if he could meet the pilot that bested him in the air, number 32. The Soviets agreed. After landing, the pilot of number 32 was summoned for a meeting with their vanquished foe. However, when the pilot entered the room, Meyer was dumbstruck. He was told that this is the pilot who had shot him down, who also happened to be a young, attractive woman, Lydia Litvyak. Meyer cursed the Soviets for humiliating him with this joke in poor taste, but Lydia stepped forward and in a clear voice and with obvious disdain for the invader, she explained step by step how she bested the German double ace with 11 victories to his name.
No, verstehen?
Meyer, realizing he was face to face with the pilot that had vanquished him, apologized, took off his gold watch and offered it to the young woman. Fixing the German with her piercing blue eyes, she responded,
I don't accept gifts from my enemies.
Turned on her heels and left the German to contemplate his fate. She made history on that day by becoming the first woman pilot to shoot down an enemy aircraft. But this was just the start. The next day she engaged in an aerial battle against another Bf-109, this time piloted by Lieutenant Hans Fuss. Fuss had 71 victories to his name. Litvyak managed to put a hole in his fuel tank. Fuss disengaged from the melee and sped for home, but ran out of fuel on his return. The 109 went down, somersaulting on the ground before reaching base. Lydia's fame grew. Her commanding officer said of her, she was very aggressive, a born fighter pilot. With her striking looks and fame in defending Stalingrad, she was given the name the White Lily of Stalingrad by her comrades. On February 1943, she was promoted to a junior lieutenant and chosen to join a group of elite pilots that were permitted to search for targets under their own initiative. These free hunters were made up of only the most experienced pilots. In recognition of this status, she had a white lily painted on the side of her plane. In March 1943, Lydia was flying as one of 6 Yak fighters. Spotting 12 Ju-88s, the Yaks engaged the group. Litvyak, ignoring the escorting 109s, lined up a Ju-88 in her sights and took the plane down. But before she could get clear, a 109 had her in its sights. Raking the cockpit of Lydia's Yak-1, the White Lily was hit. Shrugging off the pain as best she could, she managed not only to keep control of her plane, but engaged and shot down another Bf-109, piloted by Lieutenant Franz Müller. Despite being in severe pain and losing blood, she managed to return to the airfield, but injury wouldn't stop Litvyak, and she was back in the pilot's seat by May. Being in war and in a frontline position, her environment was very male-dominated, but Lydia continued to embrace her femininity and her rebellious nature. She was good friends with her mechanic, Senior Sergeant Ina Pasportnikova. Lydia would ask Ina to fetch bleach from the hospital so she could dye her hair blonde. She would pick flowers and leave them in the cockpit of her plane for luck, much to the annoyance of the Soviet pilots that would share the plane. She was fun-loving, and when returning from a successful mission, she would buzz the aerodrome and then show off doing aerobatics, knowing that it made her commander furious. On August 1st, 1943, just a few days before her 22nd birthday, Lydia took off from her base at Krasny Luch. While on a mission with pilot Ivan Borisenko, she engaged a group of German bombers. She didn't see 2 Bf-109s that were protecting the bombers. One of them, piloted by Knight's Cross holder Hans-Jörg Merkel, intercepted the White Lily of Stalingrad, and she was struck. The planes disappeared behind a cloud out of Borisenko's view. According to German reports, the injured Soviet plane turned and rammed into the Bf-109, killing its pilot. Borisenko descended and searched for Lydia, but found no trace of her. The Soviets rarely, if ever, awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union to those that were captured by the enemy. As time passed and the crash site wasn't found, the doubt lingered that Lydia had been taken prisoner by the Germans. Her friend, Pasportnikova, took it upon herself to prove that Lydia had not been captured. It took her 36 years with metal detectors and help from Lydia's family. Eventually, in 1979, after finding more than 90 other crash sites, Pasportnikova was told that a woman pilot had been buried in Dmitrivka after receiving a head wound. The remains were exhumed, and a special commission concluded that this was the remains of the White Lily of Stalingrad. In 1990, 47 years after her plane had been downed, Lydia Litvyak was awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union by President Gorbachev. But that's not the end of this story. Many historians today believe that Lydia survived. In the year 2000, Nina Raspopova, a veteran of the famous Night Witches bomber regiment who knew Lydia, was watching a television broadcast from Switzerland. On that TV show, it featured a former Soviet woman fighter pilot who had been wounded twice, left the Soviet Union, and got married and had 3 children. Raspopova, in shock, looked at this old woman on the grainy TV image. Could it be Lydia? Unfortunately, we'll never know, as no further information was found on this mysterious Soviet veteran. Pasportnikova, when reminiscing of Lydia, said, "She never believed that she was invincible. She believed that some pilots had luck on their side and others didn't. She firmly believed that if you survived the first missions, the more you flew and the more experienced you got, your chances of making it would increase. But you would have to have luck on your side." If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and please watch more videos of ours. Thank you.